Alright, before we get into this, we must define what is discipline. Discipline is more commonly known as just hard work and consistency, which are reasonable ideas, but it doesn't fully grasp what discipline really means in the sense of betterment. It's also completely unrelated to the manosphere or any other ridiculous group. Those groups really just make money off of teens and young adults, but discipline really is just how responsible you are with your own freedom. In context, it's just how much control you have making logical decisions. This sounds like a very convoluted definition, but hear me out. If you have an athlete who just got injured in a recent game, through the traditional sense of discipline, they might try to work through their injury, causing potentially career-ending consequences. It's not worth it to work through the pain just to prove that you're working hard and you're working consistently. In the case where discipline is thought of more of like a cost-benefit analysis, the athlete might skip a couple weeks off of training to make sure they're fully healed, which is kind of frowned upon in a weird way. By allowing yourself to think of discipline in a different light, as more of an approach to logic, you can work through various different problems you have when trying to stick to a diet or stick to an exercise plan, because obviously, in the long term, sticking to those things would be beneficial. It's not obvious immediately the impact you have when you break from those habits or routines. So, being able to logically justify the decision to either stay on your diet or your exercise routine or to break it is really the main aspect of discipline. The reason why the distinction of hard work versus logic is important is just how easy it is to shake off a mindset of quote-unquote hard work. What does hard work mean to you? People stay focused, but not always. And in those cases, you don't see people rebound to worse habits just because they're having a bad week. Usually when people are able to be disciplined is because they can justify to themselves why one option is better than the other. To follow this line of thinking for your own, you must account for long-term and short-term impacts, along with linear and exponential change. That isn't to say that traditional discipline and hard work are not also important, but when you attribute the positive aspects of discipline to an ultimately arbitrary factor like hard work, that skews your ability to make logical decisions about the things that you need to maintain discipline about. Thinking that hard work itself is what really pushes you forward, let's say in the gym, but you hit a roadblock. You can't get past 205 or something, right? Then doing the same thing over and over again isn't going to work at all. It's not really going to get you past that limit. So discipline in that case is going to be restructuring your workout routine, which can be argued that that is a part of hard work, but it's not really, because you're working hard before. That doesn't diminish the work you were doing, you're just doing different work now. There was a quote I heard from one of my PE teachers one year, but I'm sure he didn't come up with it. I'm sure it came from somewhere else, but it was essentially saying that practice makes permanent, which seems pretty obvious in hindsight, but it's one of those things where you don't really think about it until someone states the obvious. Consistency requires direction. And although that can be argued, it falls outside the scope of discipline as a word. The fact that the word is giving a positive connotation in general speak, and the fact that you clicked on this video, means that there must be a societal implication of said direction. It's not that you consistently be a bum or something. The reason I'm having this video is because I'm going through a rough patch myself. There's times I'm getting 10 to 14 hours of sleep consistently, which clearly really isn't good. And I've been stumbling when I walk, and I've already looked through, I'm hydrated well, I eat well, and I've been exercising. So for me, hard work is really currently just like a non-factor. I'm just too fatigued to do anything. So it puts into question to me what's wrong with my discipline for me to end up in a state such as this. And I got to thinking, and this is what I came up with. Logically, I should find a solution to this fatigue, and then that is how I would get back to being disciplined. Although you can argue, I'm working hard, I'm trying not to be fatigued, I'm doing the best I can with my diet, my exercise. Still, clearly, I'm in a rough patch, and there's more to discipline than just working hard and the consistency and showing up. Because that's not always going to get you where you want to go. Because you do all of that, it's like eating the same thing every day. Then the deficiencies add up and you don't see it until you reach the end. And that's the same thing. That's why with discipline, with how I'd want to think about it, is more of an approach to logic, cost-benefit analysis in how you act. If you're stuck in bed all day, then you're left with the choice, do I get up or do I stay in bed? The easiest option is stay in bed, but for long-term impact. So you can keep moving on with your life, you need to get up. But the issue is, if you don't have that discipline, then you can make a pretty sound logical argument on why you would stay in bed. And that's a scary thing. You need to question your reasoning. But that's pretty hard, because you need kind of like an external mindset to your own, which I guess falls outside the scope of discipline actually this time, but I mean, it's not wrong, you know. How are you going to question your reasoning if you're just reasoning your reasoning? But alright, now that doesn't make sense. This is getting kind of stupid, but you get what I mean. That also goes to say, I am in no way qualified to talk about discipline. I am not the most disciplined person in the world. This is just my interpretation on what I think discipline should be viewed as. I guess societally, I'm not really sure where I wanted to go with this, but I guess just whatever is the best way to view discipline in terms of self-betterment, this is how you would want to view it, instead of just hard work and consistency. Although those are important things, those are more of like an aspect of your work instead of an aspect of your character, which discipline should be. That's the end of the video. You get to watch this amazing end scene and this amazing gameplay. It's incredible, really. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Let me know what other topics I can do other than discipline. I think it'd be pretty fun if I could branch out. Yep, adios, gang.